tap.
This is part 2 of our 2-part series with Josie. If you didn't catch our last episode, part 1, I encourage you to go back and listen to that one first. As Josie shared her journey from Brazil to arriving in America with $1,000 in a suitcase and a dream of American success. She discussed her journey and the emotional impact of the day she became an American citizen. In today's episode, we'll discuss women in tech and the importance of diversity and inclusion and how we can inspire more women to get involved in this industry. We'll also talk about Josie's role at OpenText and AppRiver and the world of cybersecurity and why you, as an entrepreneur or business leader, should really pay attention. So strap on your boots, ladies and gentlemen, and get ready for another great ride of Nerds on Tap. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Nerds on Tap. I'm your host, Tim Shute, and I couldn't be more excited to embark on this nerdy adventure with all of you. So grab your favorite brew, because things are about to get exciting.
3, 2, 1, go!
Hey everyone, welcome to lucky episode number 13 of Nerds on Tap. Today's show is called Breaking Barriers, Women in Tech, with special guest Josie Keck of OpenText, one of the largest providers of cybersecurity solutions among many other things, and one of Digital Boardwalk's favorite partners. So, I think I'm going to really enjoy this next segment. We are going to talk about inspiring women in technology. And, you know, I want to get into the importance of diversity and inclusion in the tech world. How do you believe diversity and inclusion contribute to the field?
Oh, man.
Oh, I know. This is a good one to start it off with. And
I think that we talked about before how you need to have like input of women of different ages and people from different walks of life to build this technology that includes everybody. Everybody, right?
Yeah.
We all need to be in this together. I have had some women. It's funny to say sometimes, like, I have men who have mentored me, okay, as a woman, who have embraced me. You're a woman in this industry. You know, going to conferences is always interesting. There's like, I don't know, it's funny because, every time I have a partner dinner and I take you all to dinner, there's usually 12 of you guys and me, and we take a picture that I always share with my husband. I'm like, he goes, there you go, 12-1 ratio. There's always the ratio. We're trying to get more.
There need to be more.
There need to be more women. But, I have had men who have mentored me. To this day, I have men who mentor me. But I have great women too in my life. My boss, Jen
Let's
Dario.
talk about Jen.
Jen Dario.
Yeah, let's talk about her. And something that a lot of people don't know about Jen. I hope she listens to this show.
She will after today.
She is a workout fiend. She works out at what time every morning?
She cycles like on the road from 5 to 7
Wow.
a.m. every morning.
5 to 7, 2 hours.
And we've been out before where we had a few IPAs, okay? I don't like to get up in the morning if I drink a few IPAs the night before. I wanted to sleep and let my body rest. That woman wakes up in the morning and she's working out for 2 hours. But she's very passionate to the passion that she has about work. And she is the most empathetic person I ever met, and she really inspires me because, like you said before, Josie, like, don't get on my bad side.
Yeah.
Very passionate, like I want, and she's a person sometimes when I'm like, I'm very passionate about my job. So when things are not working, I want to call the product manager and say, what the heck, make this work. And I go on, and she tells me, take a step back. She said, do not send the email today. Let's just step away. Let's chat tomorrow morning when we first come in. And usually it's a good thing that she tells me to step back because you
never send an emotional email.
I mean, I don't call it emotion. I call it passion.
Passionate email.
Passionate email, yes.
But if that passion is deciphered out of context
Yes.
on the other end as something else, it becomes a bigger problem.
100%. And, in a lot, especially people in IT today, they live behind screens, text message, emails. For me being sales, I'm a communication. I want to pick up the phone, have a call with you, right? We want to have a conversation. And when I email somebody or call, they don't call, they email me back, say, let's get on the phone and talk about this. Because text message and emails you read something, but you cannot read the emotion, or you might read the emotion incorrectly. So it is important to have that person. Again, we're in technology, but the people need to still connect because we're still humans. This is not Josie AI sitting here. It's Josie the human, the real person. So I have emotions, you have emotions. And when you're upset and you call me and then you later say, hey, I'm sorry, don't listen to the voicemail. If I listen to, or if you send me an ugly email, we probably will not be here today.
No, but I sent you an ugly voicemail.
You did.
And we're still sitting here today.
I didn't listen
because
to it.
you didn't listen to it. Did you listen to it?
I did not.
Ah.
I told you last night. I told you I did not. I know myself. I know myself. I'm like, if he told me not to listen, it was ugly, I'm not gonna listen.
It was so bad.
It's good.
And it was out of character for me because even here, I will not talk to someone if I'm upset with them. I will wait, collect my emotions, stick to business, and treat it like this.
But you're a human being, and that's so important for you
It's hard to do.
For you to even talk about this. Like, we're all humans, we make mistakes, and sometimes it's good to take the step back. And Jen, going back to Jen Dario, she really, I feel like we balance each other out. I have this thing where we do events together, as you know. I'm a planner. So 3 months before, I am freaking out. Jen, where are we staying? Where's the hotel? Did we book everything?
Yeah.
It's like, Josie, just wait. No, I cannot wait. We got to let everybody know ahead of time. So, and I am like, we're going to go here. We're going to go there. There's no deviation. So I'm like,
My favorite part of this, what we're talking about, is the fact that you're a woman and your boss is a woman in the tech industry. That makes it even more dynamic, more powerful of a message. But here's the flip side to that. I really wanted to get Jen on this show because it's my understanding, having gotten to know you guys, that she wouldn't be able to handle these 4 little beers here.
no.
And I want to say it to see if she listens to the show. So, Jen, if you're listening to the show, get on here so I can get you a nice little buzz by segment 3, and we can have a little bit of fun.
You might have to do like wine tasting, maybe. I heard that you might want to do that at some point. Remember, I listened to your podcast.
This is a beer show.
It's a beer show. We can do like beer
I'm
for
kidding.
you.
I'm kidding.
See, I listened to your podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I don't know how to pick out wine.
I can help.
He doesn't know how to pick out
You'll
wine.
be getting corner store wine.
So let's talk corner store. We're gonna drink some what was it? Some Boone's Farm.
I don't even know what that is, but it must not be good.
That's what teenagers drank in the 80s because we couldn't afford anything else, and then you woke up with a massive headache the next day.
Oh, no.
So
don't do
I'm
that.
dating myself, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't do that to
Yes,
Jen.
I was a kid in the 80s. So let's talk about some famous women in tech and lead into this next thing. I want to talk about personal anecdotes and stories of women who have made a difference in technology. So while I'm talking about one famous woman that I admire for what she's done in tech, I want you to start thinking about maybe some other folks that you work with or have come across, like we mentioned Nashville, in the tech industry that have inspired you, either famous or not famous, that you either know or don't know. So let's focus in on Sheryl Sandberg. So of course everyone knows her for her role at Facebook. But more importantly, for this segment, I want to talk about her founding the Lean In movement. So me and Kathleen were pinpointed. The Lean In movement extended to Pensacola one year, and we were invited to sit on a panel and talk about us as a husband and wife working together in the tech industry and how we've had to lean in both professionally and personally to keep it working. People always ask me, how do you guys make it work? We stay in our lanes.
It's amazing how you guys make it work because I know I cannot work with my husband. I love him to death, but No.
Now, a younger version of me and a younger version of Kathleen, prior to us getting married, worked together in tech. And I think I fired her 13 times. She quit 13 times. The door was slammed in my face. The door was slammed in her face. And we always joke that we almost didn't get married because of that, but it's not true. How could I not marry? She's an amazing woman.
Yep.
And I know she listens to this podcast. So,
But she knows that.
yeah. But fast forward, and people ask me, how do you guys make it work? I mean, we've been working together now in Digital Boardwalk for 10 years. I started Digital Boardwalk like 14 or 15 years ago, but she's been part of it she just did her 10 years this past year. And I tell everybody, because we stay in our lanes. Now, work sometimes flows over to after 5, and we're at the dinner table talking about something we're trying to get past. But that's okay, because it's engaging conversation that we're both passionate about. And we stay in our lanes as far as our roles go, and it works, and we're very successful at it. So lean in. So let's stay on that topic. Let's talk about Sheryl Sandberg. So she has her book. So you can go to leanin.org, but Lean In, Women, Work, and the Will to Lead. That's her book. It really sparked a global movement, encouraging women to pursue leadership and break down barriers in a male-dominated industry, right? So, are you familiar with the Lean In movement?
Yes, I was briefly part of it. Upriver was getting involved with that before the acquisition, so I was briefly involved.
So you were briefly involved. So even with your brief involvement, tell me, based on what you know about it, does it resonate with you and your journey into this world of nerds?
It does, especially when you talk about you and Kathleen being together in this business. Every time I get a partner, I don't get a lot of new partners now because I've been with Zix Upriver so I have like established number of partners that I have that I nurse those relationships. And I like to say, you probably may have heard me say this or not. I don't sell anything. Okay. I develop relationships.
Yeah.
Then you come to me for advice. What do you have that can fit the needs? And sometimes I make a suggestion, say, hey, I think you should switch your backup to your backup, right? So I can make a suggestion based on what I know about my product, and I think you'd be better with us because then you got our support too.
Yeah.
But every time I talk to, and I have a few partners that are husband and wife together, and I think that is so powerful. First of all, you're together, you're in this together, and then you get a different point of view too of Kathleen. And I see sometimes when she and I have been in calls or have conversations about situation that I can see a little bit of Tim Shoop coming out. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing because now we feed off of each other. And sometimes, like my husband and I talk about this sometimes, like when I get like passionate about something, he goes, "You acting just like me now."
That's funny.
And then I have to sit back. I'm like, no, I don't want to act like I want to be Josie. But it's great. So the diversity, the inclusion, when you have a husband and wife business like that, or if you don't have a wife who wants to be in the industry, maybe she has a different passion, a different career, just having another women in the leadership role to give you the feedback, to give you the different perspective, I think is very important. I think that every MSP should have a woman, a female there with them to help them understand. And also the nurturing, like I was listening to this podcast with Marie Weiss,
Love her.
I love her too, and I messaged her the other day.
Shout out Marie.
Hi,
Hope
Marie.
you listen to this. She has her own podcast.
I know. I listened to it. That's how and I messaged her the other day. I'm like, hey, when the new podcast is coming out? Like last one was in December.
Why don't you tell what's the name of her podcast? Can you tell?
Is
Women in
Technology.
Women in Technology.
Women Technology.
Perfect for this
So
segment.
she brings like all these great women from Google, women who do different things in technology. I listened to one time, and I tell you, first time I listened to her podcast, we all have good days and bad days. Sometimes you wake up, you're like, no, I don't want to do this. I'm so tired, whatever. I woke up in the morning, went to the gym, and I listened to one of her podcasts, and it changed my week. It changed my day. And I messaged her. and I messaged her on LinkedIn, and she said, "Thank you so much for this, because we were thinking if this was really reaching the right audience, if people really."
But it is.
It is. It is. It's amazing for me as a woman technology to listen to other women talk about their challenges. We all have challenges. Doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man. We all have challenges. But sometimes as a woman, because we're the smaller amount of people in this industry, you feel alone.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have, communication. I have my boss who's amazing, and she's a female, so I can go to her and tell her like I'm not feeling included, whatever the reason is. And so Marie really, I forgot what I was talking about, but Marie, I was going somewhere and I lost my train of
No,
thought.
you were talking about Marie and her podcast and how you listen to it, but we were staying on the roll of, we got into it by talking about leaning in, but we asked you, how does it resonate with you in your journey, hearing these stories of leaning in and Sheryl Sandberg's movement? That's how we got into this.
Yes, I was going to say something about Marie. So she's coming up with a new podcast now.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it. But again, going back to my point earlier, I think that every business, like I have a lot of MSPs, they're all men, right? And when I go and I talk to a woman, I think it's important to have a female in there, just to have the different perspective, the different point of view, the nurturing. I remember now what we're going to. So Marie was talking about how she was interviewing somebody, saying that the girls from birth, it's changing a little bit. We are taught that we need to go into nurturing careers, because we have the nurturing side of us. We're mothers. If we're not mothers, we're aunts, we're sisters, and we have a different warmth in life. So you can be a nurturing person in technology. You can carry that on, and I think we need that.
My wife, Kathleen, nurtures our customers. She is the one that steps in. She truly cares. And we talked about how you got in. You were going to be in the legal industry, and you kind of stumbled into tech.
Yes.
Kathleen, when we wanted to have children, we were trying to build a schedule and brought her over to Digital Boardwalk so we could build that schedule around her, so her and I could have Caleb and Tori and who, they're chip off the old block.
I feel like I know them as much as we talk about them. I feel like.
And if you've watched any Digital Boardwalk videos, we actually have a video of them growing into us, because they look exactly like us.
Yep.
Younger versions, obviously. Caleb doesn't have gray hair. Why is that funny, Josie?
It's not funny.
Okay, don't laugh.
Okay.
So, no, but she stumbled back in because we were trying to solve a problem for our personal life. But now she's the passionate driver, and a lot of times she keeps me going.
She rubs that on you too, doesn't she?
But, well, and it's that nurturing, because I watch her making the kids lunches in the morning, getting them out the door for school, all the things she does around the house. And then she's here all day for our customers and taking care of them. So, I applaud, ladies and gentlemen, women in tech, because they're not just handling what you see day to day in the job role, but they have jobs at home that they're passionate about too. I know Josie is a passionate chef at home.
Oh gosh,
we've talked about that.
I cooked. My husband gets a fresh cooked meal at least 5 days a week, at least. My passion, after I finish work, I go downstairs to my kitchen, and that's where my artistic side. And I like to cook things.
That's where the magic happens.
Where the magic happens. and he will ask me sometimes, "Why are you doing this way? It's a lot more work." And I'm like, because I like the process.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, I love to cook.
So I asked you earlier to think about women, either famous or that you have met along the way or that you work with. And I'd like you to call out on this show any women in tech that have made an impression on you, either famous or not. Go.
So I'm not much into famous people, to be honest. Okay, I read books. I know about them. They're an inspiration, but they're not like my top people. The people who I come in contact, again, the human contact, the relationship are the ones who have changed my life. I have somebody who, she actually was part of hiring me at App River, and I will never forget. Her name was Lori Jones. She was the HR person for Africa at the time, and she was the one who got me into the lean-in program that we're doing here in Pensacola too. She made an impact in my life. Somebody who I worked for at the 11 firm. She was basically my first boss ever. Okay, and she, not in the tech industry, but an amazing woman in the legal industry, which there's a lot of men dominated. It's changing, but her name is Taxi Lambert. She's from Pensacola, and of course Jen Dario is my current role model who mentors me, who inspires me, who keeps me out of trouble.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it, Josie. So let's talk about initiatives and programs aimed at promoting women in technology. Now, I'm gonna feed into this because I did a little bit of research prior to the show. There are multiple. I'm just going to name a few, but if you find this episode on YouTube, we'll have this list available on the video version at this part in the episode. So if you want to refer back to the list, you can. Okay. First one is Microsoft, of course, has a Microsoft Women in Technology group that you can get involved in and discuss technology topics with other women and share ideas. Another good one is Girls Who Code. Are you familiar with that? Okay.
Yes.
What do you, okay. It's a nonprofit organization that aims to close the gender gap in technology by teaching girls to code and providing them with the support and resources they need to succeed. Do you want to elaborate? Or
I just think, I listen to podcasts and I read books, and I mean, and I listen, and I'm part of a lot of like newsletter, Women in Technology, but Girls Who Code, Women Who Code. I think it's amazing because that's not something that I would like to do. Okay. But I admire girls who can do, and I wanted them to do, because I wanted them to create something amazing. So through my relationship building, through my people skills, I can present to the customer.
Yeah.
Those girls are amazing at creating great products, but they might not be the best at presenting the product.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So that's why we need not just women who can sit behind the computer,
but we need women who can communicate
that, who love technology. Like, I'm the one who likes to communicate. I could be selling whatever. My husband likes to say that I can sell ice to Eskimos, but I don't think I can. I can only sell something I'm passionate about it. Because you probably, that's one thing Stan didn't tell you too. One thing that most people don't know, my coworkers know, I don't have a poker face.
Oh, yeah?
So when we get in the meeting, I'm always on camera.
So right now you're smiling, but you're really mad at me.
No, I don't have a poker face. If I was mad at you, you would know.
Yeah, well, of course. You'd find me under a rock 3 countries away, right? Like, according to Stan.
You would know. It's always funny because my manager, Jen Dario, will ask me sometimes. She's like, "What's wrong?" And I say, "Nothing." She said, "No, your face says differently." So I don't have a poker face. But going back to women creating technology and letting me present that. And we need women who are in sales but also are passionate about. They may not know all the technology, but they have to be passionate about the technology.
Love it. One more that comes to mind is Women Tech Makers. It's a global program that provides visibility, community, and resources for women in technology. I didn't even know that existed.
I did not even know that.
That looks like a good one. So let's talk about insights into the unique perspective that women bring to the field. So we chatted about it briefly earlier, but I'm going to touch on a few, and I'm going to let you elaborate. So I'll go ahead and tell you my thoughts, and then we can get into a discussion around them. So the first one that comes to mind is diverse problem-solving approaches, right? So I have women techs that have worked at Digital Boardwalk and ones that work here now. They're very organizational. I always brag. We have a girl in our implementations department named Becca, and she is so organized. And that's what I love about women in tech. I think women are better organized than men. So men, please don't stop listening to my show.
There are some.
We have beer on here.
There's some men who are organized too.
Yeah. I make lists every day, and we're teaching that to our kids now about the importance of lists and maintaining prioritization of things that you have to get done, because it creates success. Somebody took me under their wing. I worked for a VAR back in the 90s, a value-added reseller in Los Angeles in the 90s, and I had them take me under their wing, and the first thing they taught me was make a list every day. Since I was 25 years old, I've been making a list every day. Even if I already have a list, I will make a new list.
It's amazing when you cross a list off, isn't it?
Oh my
When
God. It's so rewarding.
Yes.
That is, check.
Yeah,
Oh,
done.
just, ta-da!
Yep. I block my calendar at the end of the day, plan next day, as I kind of go through the list.
Yeah.
What have I not done today? And build a new list.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do. And then I check them off. Women often approach problems from different angles, right? You draw on your diverse experiences and your backgrounds. The diversity of thought leads to innovative solutions and creative problem solving. So, and I see that with Becca in that department. She's really leading a charge, and I love that about her. And I love that, that unique approach to problem solving that women do bring. Collaboration and communication. I'll throw that out there. We talked a lot about that today. Do you want to add to that?
I want to say to women, we are more socially aware too.
That's a good one.
We're socially aware. Like we will notice things. I think that's one thing, communication, social awareness. I would tell my husband something. He goes, "Wow, you are so smart." He like, "How did you know that?" I'm like, "Well, if you were paying attention, you would notice that person's body language, the way they were not comfortable with this." Like, I think women are more socially aware of people's feelings, what they're talking about. Sometimes people say one thing when they really mean another thing. Not reading too much into it,
Yeah.
but really being socially aware
Yeah.
of what's going on.
That's a good one. Another one that comes to mind is user-centric design. Now, I want to get into this because me and my wife are doing a remodel at home right now. I'm all about function.
Yeah.
She's all about, you want to finish that?
What it looks.
Form. Yes. What she's all about the aesthetics and how it's going to, and I'm all about function. And sometimes function and form don't collaborate because some things you can't have function the way you want if it's formed a certain way. And so that comes over into the tech industry. Let's just talk about coding. I mean, if a dude writes code for a new piece of software, the GUI or the graphical user interface or the user experience might be really crappy.
It is. You need a woman to tell him, like, it will look better. It will catch people's attention, be easier to use. If things were set in a certain way or look in a different way, people's eyes will go straight to that. Just women, like, situational awareness, social awareness. Yes.
Yeah, and user design.
Yes,
yeah.
User design.
Because, if you think about it, you can compare, this is how I would compare it, front page from the late 90s to designing a website to today's technology of building on WordPress and having it form out a certain way, the way a website would form, is how I would compare a men's design to women's design, because it's just so empathy and inclusion. We talked about that. You talked about Jen and, empathetic, just the different things that women bring to the workplace in the form of empathy. You understand the challenges that faced by underrepresented groups. Now, I do too. We're very diverse in Digital Boardwalk with our hiring. We want to make sure we're doing the best we can to hire all different kinds of people from different backgrounds and different, we have people, the guy that, for instance, I'm going to talk about a dude here, but he runs our project department, but he comes from the hospitality industry. He didn't know tech, but he knew how to manage a project. I have somebody in our cybersecurity department. She's, ex-Marine, very hardcore, but we had a nice chat yesterday over a cookout, and what she brings to the table in the form of organizational skills and just leading the charge and making sure we're ahead of the curve. And she's very passionate about it. to Becca, I mentioned earlier in our implementations room. I mean, she's very determined.
I think that men are very problem solvers. Okay, has Kathleen ever come to you with a problem and you immediately like you want to solve the problem? My husband does that. Sometimes when I share something at work that I am thinking, he's like, "Wow, you need to do this and this." I said, "I'm not asking to solve this problem. I want you to just listen."
Yeah.
Okay, when there's a problem, you immediately goes, "I'm gonna go solve it." Right? We as women, I think most what we do is take a step back
Yeah.
and look at the whole situation. Like, why do we have this problem? Maybe doesn't need to be solved. Maybe it was solved by itself. But you, as your male mindset, is always to go tackle the problem and solve it.
We just need to lean in.
Yes, on each other. Because
Yeah.
sometimes we women need to take a problem and solve it too, not just let it solve itself.
And men, I don't want to call you out because on the show because I want you to keep listening, but listen. You need to listen. You need to listen to the women in your life and the women in your workplace because there is a challenge brought to women in the workplace. Obviously, I mean, if you just go back in history of the evolution that the United States has gone through, I mean, my goodness, look where we are today versus where we were in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I mean, it was awful.
Yep.
It was awful. For women and black people and just I guess I'm supposed to say African American, but
Yep.
I don't see them any different than me. And and then of course the privileged white man is we're the bad guy now.
You're the problem.
But we're and I think to a degree historically we have been. But I think we're getting better. And I think that it's better all the way around because here's the deal. The United States will evolve a lot more quickly when you expand that talent pool into the folks that you didn't give that opportunity to before. And look at Barack Obama. Look at the
You
people
just
that have
look
come
at
up.
countries today, and not to get into politics, who do not include women. Who do
Yeah, we definitely don't want to talk politics, but you're right.
how they are behind.
Yeah.
How they're so behind.
Yeah. No, I agree. But hopefully we can just all love one another
Yes.
and be a better world for it. So breaking stereotypes was the last one that I wanted to talk about because women are breaking stereotypes. Women challenge stereotypes by excelling in traditionally male-dominated fields like the tech industry. Your achievements inspire others and pave the way for future women like my 11-year-old daughter.
Your daughter, yes.
So
that's what I was thinking as you're talking about men, you're calling out men to listen, to embrace women in the workplace. That's your daughter tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not your daughter's
I
your
agree.
niece or
Yeah.
your granddaughter, if you don't have females in your life, or your best friend's daughter. So you're paving the way. You as a man, not just females are paving the way. Men are also paving the way for other women.
Yes. So before we get to our next beer and let you finish that last beer, Josie, yeah, I like to call you out for those of you that aren't watching this. She's still got a beer to finish. So what advice, last two questions, before we get into segment 3, what advice would you give to those looking to enter the cybersecurity or technology sales industry, especially women?
Don't be afraid. You can go to a job interview and tell them, I don't know what domain is. I actually heard from another woman. She's on our team, and she's amazing. She worked for Microsoft, and she told me her first technology job, she went to apply for a software development company. She did not know what software was. Okay?
Oh, wow.
So amazing.
Okay,
So when I
yeah.
told her my story, I didn't know what domain was. She said, let me tell you mine. I applied for the software development company, and I didn't know what software was. So don't be afraid. If you're passionate, if you're curious, you don't even have to be, you might be curious. I want to learn more about this. Now, let me tell you something about the tech industry. You're learning something new every day. There will not be a boring day in your life. There's always going to be something challenging you, expanding you, So don't be afraid. Just go for and find other women. Connect. Like Tim mentioned earlier, there's a few, what you call communities,
Yeah.
or they are there to help women entering the tech industry. Find the
Just do a Google
do a
search.
Google search,
Yeah.
or Microsoft AI. They can also help you find that.
That's true.
Copilot can help you.
Well, we're going to get into that in the next segment. We're going to
Yes.
talk about what Josie is really passionate about, and that is the world of cybersecurity, open text, and digital boardwalk.
Yes.
So we definitely want to talk about that. Before that, and before we have our next beer, you better finish that one. In your experiences in this industry, what strategies have been successful in encouraging more women and girls to pursue careers in technology? We just talked about encouraging them,
Yeah.
but can you give just one strategy they can take? Like you talk to people, and there's all kinds of, you just got to go out and apply, right? You just got to go out and show them who you are. Don't be afraid, right? You said don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to go out and challenge yourself.
Yes. But let me tell you something. The people who can help these girls who are scared to join this nerdy world that we're in is us.
Yeah.
It's us. We need to welcome them. I always been that person. It's funny because I took like this strength testing the other day, and it came up I'm a woo girl, means that I'm always welcoming others, And I remember from like I run into people that I used to work with or worked at App River before, and one thing that they tell me, oh my gosh, when I started working there, you were the only person who actually came up to me, said hi, and told me if you need anything, just reach out to me. It's up to us to encourage these women, these girls, that want to. They can have all the courage in the world. If they walk into your office here, and they get a bunch of people don't even say hi to them, it's scary. It's scary to be. Not everybody has the resilience, to pass that barrier, not care that nobody welcome her. A lot of these girls need to feel welcome. So it's up to you, not just me as a female. To me as a female, like I do even more because I know what it's like to be that girl entering the office, doesn't know the technology, but wants to learn, doesn't know what to add, the right question to ask. But to you as a man, you are, like I said earlier before, I am not the only one paving the way for other women in this industry. You, as a male, you're also paving the way for these women too. You welcome them, make sure that they feel comfortable. No questions, a stupid question. Ask me question. And if you need to ask me 3-4 times, ask me again until you get it. It's okay.
I love it. I love the passion when you talk about that. I mean, and you're inspiring. I hope there's at least one lady listening to this show that can be inspired by Josie and what she has overcome to get to where she is. And that is such a good segue into beer number 3.
Let's do it.
Suds.
All right. The third beer of the night is the Blueprint IPA from Birds Fly South Ale Project, South Carolina. A balanced, juicy, double dry hopped IPA brewed with guava puree for full flavor and complexity, and hop bursted with Mosaic, Centennial, and Citra hops.
Ching ching.
Ching ching. I love that one.
That was good.
Yeah, that's good. Maybe you'll drink the whole one. So, Stan, if you're listening, Josie's not drinking all of the beer.
I have all night. I'm going to Mardi Gras parade
You're
tonight.
going to Mardi. She's trying to pace herself. So, the world of cybersecurity. It's so exciting. I love cybersecurity. I love what we get to talk about in this next segment, and I hope you made it to this segment, especially you entrepreneurs, you business owners, you small to medium-sized business owners, you big enterprise C-level folks out there. Please take this seriously. The world of cybersecurity, open text, and digital boardwalk is what we're going to talk about.
Wow.
and this is your passion.
Yes.
So I know I'm going to light you up like a firecracker when we talk
I don't
about
have a poker
this.
face. You see the
Yeah,
smile?
no, you can't. She can't. It's either the beer or she's getting happy just thinking about talking
Obviously,
about it.
I'm not drinking my beer, so.
I know. Come on. So in today's digital age, cybersecurity is more critical than ever. Provide some insights, please, into the significance and some of the challenges it presents.
Wow. First of all, I want to start talking about being cyber secure and cyber resilient.
Yes.
Right? I talked about this all the time, and I say over and over again because they say it takes 7 times different way you say for somebody to finally get it. So we want to make sure that you're cyber secure, or your customers are cyber secure, and then they're cyber resilient. What does that mean? What's the difference? Cyber secure is that we're going to put all these tools around your business to protect. There are so much going on out there. Somebody's after your business every day. Okay. And I know because I work with this and we run reports and we can see how many phishing attacks Tim got. Like in the past week, it can be like 157 times somebody tried to send him a phishing attack. But being cyber secure, we have all the solutions that we put to protect your email, to protect your network, to protect your endpoints, to encrypt your email, so all those private information is not going out on the web like anybody can grab it. That means you being cyber secure. It's like locking your house, protecting your house, like putting all these keys. Now, is not if, is when somebody gets in, because they will eventually. There's not 100% proof technology. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's that analogy that you just used, I use quite a bit, and I talk about layers, cybersecurity layers. It's so important because the bad actors, whether here or abroad, they are, and mostly abroad, they're always coming up with new ways to get into your house, so to speak. You start with the fence. You got your firewall. They got to get over that privacy fence. Once they're over that privacy fence, they might deal with a dog. That might be your second layer. Maybe that's your endpoint protection. Then they get to the window or the door. They've got to break it open, right? So they've got to penetrate that. How are they going to do that? Are they going to use a phishing attack? Or are they going to are they going to use some other sort of way to get into your network? And then once they're in the house, they got to deal with the alarm system. That might be another layer. At Digital Boardwalk, we deploy 13 layers of defense.
Wow.
So if they get over 4, they still got a ton more to get over before they penetrate that network. We have not had a ransomware event, knock on wood, in a long time because we are ahead of the curve and a lot of that has to do with a lot of the products we deploy from OpenText AppRiver Zix. So, and we're going to get into those. Email threat protection, ETP, is one of them. And if I'm going to name a few,
Okay.
and then I'll have you elaborate
Okay.
specifically on these, because I know when I talk to you, off air, you just light up talking about these things. So let's mention a few, folks. So ETP means email threat protection. We have information archiving, which can be used for litigation purposes, especially how it impacts any person or business that deals with legal cases. Email encryption.
Yes.
So businesses need to stay compliant in many different industries, whether it's, PCI or FINRA or whatever it is. You've got to stay compliant. So email encryption is full. Your solution is fully automated, so it takes the guesswork out of when users should or shouldn't encrypt, which was a problem back in the day because they had to do a lot of extra things just to make sure that email was encrypted. But now we've come to terms with automation and AI, so we deploy that with your solutions. O365, Microsoft 365. Still calling it O365, with your stance with Microsoft and your elevation in the industry with Microsoft because of the clout that you guys bring to the table. And then, of course, we can't leave out OpenText WebRoot, and endpoint protection, security awareness training, DNS security. Go, Josie.
Okay.
Talk about what you guys do for lots of businesses across the world. But, as a Digital Boardwalk partner, we deploy a lot of your solutions. So
It is
go.
such a rewarding job, I can tell you this, because to know that we're bringing all this protection to the business, and that I work with MSPs like yourself who care about this, who are learning, who are growing with us. But going back to being cyber secure, I'm going to talk a little bit about being cyber resilient, right? I talked
Okay.
about it's not if, it's when the bad
Yeah.
person gets in your house. How fast can you get him out of there? And if he took something from you, how fast can you get it back? Right?
Yeah.
So being cyber resilient, like we have our cloud to cloud backup. Okay, then we back up your entire Microsoft environment. Then we have a Carbonite that backs up your hardware
Yeah.
too. That like if somebody steals that from you and they hold all your data ransomware, you're gonna have to pay. What do? Do you pay or do not pay? And you hear people saying don't pay. Right? But we're not going to get into that. The whole thing is about you getting your data back up and continue to do business. Every day, every hour of your business counts. But let's go through our products. Let's start with advanced email threat protection. Our email threat protection is the layer, the filter that we put in front of all of your emails. Microsoft, Google Workspace, they come with a built-in filter. Those two companies, they don't specialize in cybersecurity. They're developing greater, bigger things. And it's our job to use the layer security approach. What it does, it stops spam, viruses, also watches for phishing attacks, ransomware attacks. We have a link protection. Every time one of your users gets an email with a link on and they click on it, it does a link analysis before allowing your user to
I
go.
love that.
Yeah, and it's like 2 seconds. Just it just said we're working, and if it's good, you can go see. Even on your phone, when you get an email on your
Yep.
phone, you look, it analyzes the link for you. So, and if it's not a good link, it will let you know. No, you can go there because it's a malicious link. So that's one of the things we have. The identity protection is very easy for somebody to go buy a domain that looks very similar to your. And for those who don't know what a domain is, so you know the name of your domain. Somebody can go buy like a Digital Boardwalk and change the I
Yep.
or change a letter that looks like. So when you receive an email for digitalboardwalk.com,
Let me chime in there. If folks, if you have ever gone to a website and typed it in wrong by like one letter or put in the wrong extension, it takes you to some weird site, and think about that for a minute. Now, normally you can tell the difference and you go, oh, I see where I made the mistake. But if the bad actor decided to completely clone the existing site and make it look the same, but change the links, because it's very easy to do nowadays, then as soon as you click that link, the bad stuff starts to happen. Yeah.
Yes. So it's, so somebody can go buy a domain name that looks like Digital Boardwalk. So we are all multitasking every day. We're on our phones, on our computers. You click on that email, done. So we do the analysis. We analyze the domain name, the username. Like Tim, for example, if we get your email address, somebody can spoof your email address and it look like, oh, I got an email from Tim. Tim is asking to go buy me some gift cards for Kathleen. He wants to surprise her for her birthday, whatever. It's very easy to do that. So we analyze that for you. Email threat protection. And we talked about our email encryption. Our email encryption, anybody who sends any personal information, sensitive information, or if you are in healthcare, financial industry, you must have encryption. Is a requirement.
Because if it gets hijacked or intercepted,
yes.
Talk about
it. We usually like to describe when you send an email out, it's like sending a postcard. Right?
Yep.
When you send a postcard, would you send somebody a postcard with your date of birth on, a social security number, and your credit card number and just mail it? Say, hey, here, it is. You can use this. You will not do that. When you send an email, it hops from server to server. As it's making its hops, somebody can grab and read it, right? With the email encryption, it will make sure that my message go from me to Tim. Only he can read it. And the solution that we have, it takes out of the human error out of the picture. It's automated. It will scan the body.
Automated.
Yes.
That's the key. And that's what, and again, going back to user-centric focus on that user experience from a
Yes.
women's perspective, it works.
Our encryption product manager is actually a woman.
Is it?
Yes.
See?
Hey,
I
Kathy.
knew it.
Hey,
I
Kathy.
knew it.
So
Give a shout out to
Hey,
her.
Kathy. She's amazing. She's amazing. Brilliant. The email, you don't have to type in on the subject line pound secure or pull like a different, Outlook plugin to send the encrypted message. It will look at the body of the email. It will go down like previous threads. It will also scan the attachments. And we scan over like 200 types of attachments to make sure there's nothing attached there that violates the policy that you set up. Moving on to archive. Our archive is for discovery purposes. I like to say, anybody who has the potential to go into litigation today needs to have archiving. Who is it? Everybody. Any small business. Everybody can go into litigation today. We actually had a case was a client here in Pensacola. I'm not sure if it was your customer. It was a partner here in Pensacola. It was a bakery. Okay. They let an employee go. The employee was suing the bakery owner for whatever they were suing him. So the partner, this MSP, put archiving on their email. And before they could really get into litigation, the bakery owner was able to get out of it because it was able to prove that whatever they're alleging was not correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Now people ask me sometimes, how about if I don't want to produce this data? Well, then you need your lawyer to know that there are things in your email because you don't have doesn't mean the other person doesn't have.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're in a bad situation, you better get out and settle in the beginning, then go through that whole litigation. Right.
Yeah.
So I can talk about this because of my background. I can talk about the archive,
I love it.
the legal. I can go all day. Then we have cloud-to-cloud backup. So why do you need archive and then cloud-to-cloud backup? We like to say archive is for discovery purposes. Backup is for recovery purposes. So if somebody would take your Microsoft environment ransom and you probably seen this before. Our product is very easy. With a click of a button, you can restore mailboxes, calendar, SharePoint sites, OneDrive.
Yep.
You can restore everything. And then we go into webroot, DNS protection.
Mm-hmm.
Our DNS product manager, you met him, Jonathan Barnett. That guy is I like to call him the smartest man in our company because he's brilliant. He was an MSP for 25 years?
Yeah.
So he builds the product with the MSP in mind, with our customers in mind. Great product. We have our security awareness training, which is a product. Go ahead.
Let's focus on, so before we talk about security awareness training, what is the number one attack vector that bad actors love? It is people.
People.
And so when they send you that email, that phishing email, right? And you click on that, shout out to my friend Devin Brown. He'll know what I'm talking about. What happens? That's when the bad stuff happens. So, so talking about security awareness training and the importance of it, and making it not only informative but enjoyable. Right? And that's where you guys come in with the products that you have, because the animated, the way that training works, it's very engaging. It's very quick and short for someone to go through. And it teaches them about different attack vectors that they can now get around by understanding how it works.
Yeah. And people learn differently. You can sit here all day and talk about you should not do this, you should do this. Some people listen, not listen, but then you send them a phishing simulation email.
Yeah.
Right? To see how many, we just talked about this last month, that don't click on the USPS, delivery notice of a package that you're not expecting. But everybody wants to click to say, hey, what am I getting today?
We actually had a customer, an end user at a customer site get mad at us because we got him on a phishing simulate. He was mad. And I'm sure he doesn't listen to this show, but he got mad about it. But, and then was mad at us for, I think he was embarrassed, but the big thing to take away here is we were doing our job. We were doing our job by letting him know that, hey, you might need this training. You need to go through it because you need to understand it. Because if you pull that business down with one click, data is the most important thing in a business. I'm sorry, but intellectual property, data, and all the stuff that you house now digitally is, next to humans, the most important, but it is the biggest thing that can bring you tumbling down.
Absolutely, absolutely. And humans would like to say that we are the weakest links, right? When I used to work in Gulf Breeze in the office at River, they used to do all those things like drop in the hard, the little thumb drive, like in the parking lot to see if you're going to return, or somebody will come and ask you, hey, do you mind if I just walk with you upstairs? I'm going to go to talk to so-and-so. And you say, no, 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 I got to escort you to, there's so many different ways that they can get through, physically or with a jump drive or, emails. And our training is also seasonal. So we build based on what's happening in the world. It can be like Christmas time where people looking at advertisement, or it can be tax season. We build those training based on the industry that you're in, but also based on what's going on with COVID. COVID was, I think that when COVID broke out, like phishing attacks went from like 200 something percent to 1,000 something. It was like, it just grew exponentially. It was crazy.
And we are constantly trying to stay ahead of those bad actors. And, I was just reading an attack the other day that happened in Hong Kong. And this is scary, but I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, we will come up. There will be a solution in the night. Yeah, you better drink that. In the night, your coworkers are gonna pick on you, Josie, when they watch. If they watch the show, they're gonna see she didn't drink any of the beers. She didn't drink any of the beers. But so the CFO was based in Hong Kong. The CEO based in the UK. The management team distributed, across various geographies. So they had a Teams meeting. The CFO was in that meeting. The CEO, the management team was all in that Teams meeting. The management team and the CEO were telling the CFO, we've created these new accounts.
Okay.
And we need to transfer this money into these different accounts for some things we're working on. The CFO questioned why they wanted to transfer $250 million into these 5 new accounts that were brand new, that he just got the account information today from them in the team. But because it was coming from the CEO and they were on video, it was them in a Teams chat, he questioned himself, because he's like, well, this is coming down from the chain of command. I'm sitting here right with him. I got to do it. So he transferred the money. A week later, the business found out about it, and it became a big deal because they were all deep faked. So their voices were all cloned, which that is a thing, ladies and gentlemen. Using AI, you can clone audio, but you can also, and everybody knows it because they're taking Taylor Swift and putting her on different situations and this and that now, but that is a thing. So what they did a deep fake of the they hacked the network to get information on that management team, and because there were recordings and different things stored in that network, they were able to use those recordings to clone the voice and then deep fake everybody on that management team.
Wow.
And then they put them into a Teams meeting and told the CFO, this is what you will do. And of course he did it. And so that's the next thing. And AI, we all see it as a fun toy right now. And the government obviously sees it as a menace because of the tech industry, because of the potentially bad things it can create in the world. And it can. And that is just one scenario. But Open Text, 6-App River, Digital Boardwalk, we will be there, and we will have a solution to even augment those situations. And that's why we're always trying to stay ahead of the bad actors And before I ask you the last question in this segment, I'm challenging you, Miss Josie Keck, to drink that last beer.
I do want to say something about AI. So AI can be a scary.
I think she's diverting, ladies and gentlemen, from drinking that beer.
AI can be a scary thing, but if you think about it, I think we all need to learn about AI. Right?
Yeah.
We want to learn a bit about AI, and people talk about, oh, is AI going to take our jobs? No, there will be people who know about AI and those who don't know about
Yeah.
how to use AI. So in my little short story that I wrote to my friend's daughter, I talk about that AI is a good thing when it's used responsibly.
Yeah. Needs to be used responsibly.
Yes.
And there's a lot of good things that AI can do for us. And we're not even gonna. We don't have enough time in the show to talk about Microsoft Copilot and
We'll come back for the second one.
Yeah, I
Kathleen.
think we need to do another one and bring Kathleen in and really dive into Copilot, and we'll have a whole show. I mean, we can build a whole show on Copilot.
Absolutely. And people need to know about this. If you have
Mm-hmm.
not spark an interest, I challenge you to go learn.
I was
about
using it today.
The James Bond. So I hosted a show in November, and I created a theme, was my James Bond theme. So every presenter from my team, I have different product managers there. They're all an Asian name. My boss was Q, and then her boss was M, and I was
that's
James
funny.
Bond. So yeah, we're doing another one.
So, my last question to you, before we drink another beer, or I drink another beer, shout out to all of Josie's coworkers.
Yes.
She's not drinking her beers. As a cybersecurity expert, as somebody in the field, what do you see as the biggest challenges and opportunities facing the industry today? Is it AI? Is it security awareness for the individual? Is it just the entire spectrum of cybersecurity that they need to focus on? What is it?
Oh, I think it's all of the above.
Yeah.
Security awareness is one, and then people, they want to spend the money.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, you cannot, if you're going to lock
You
your
can't
house,
put a price on it,
you
really.
cannot put a price. If you're going to lock your house, the lock to, Doug Cashew, Doug Cashew. He's fun. He lives in Pensacola.
Yeah, I like Doug. He was supposed to be on
Yeah.
this show.
Hey, Doug. Sorry, Doug, we didn't invite you.
Hey, Doug.
Next one. We don't. But if you bring Doug here, you won't say a word. He's gonna talk the entire
Oh,
time.
yeah. Doug will take over the show. That's probably why we didn't have him here.
Maybe that's why, Doug. Sorry.
I got to get a word in.
Yes. Doug likes to explain. He said, when people say, but why do I need this? And Doug said, well, I would love to come out of my car with my grocery bag, just walk right into my house. But guess what? I need to put my bags down, take my keys out of my pocket. We're not talking about having a touch screen or anything. Just unlock the door and get into my house. You need to have, and people don't want to inconvenience you. That's another thing.
Yeah.
It's not just the money. It's about, do I need to have MFA?
Yes.
That's a conversation for an entire podcast, right?
Yes. MFA is so important.
Yes.
Yeah. Or authenticator.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh, I gotta have, I carry 2 phones, so my authenticator's in the other phone. I'm like, which phone do I get? It's necessary.
You got to have it. It is an inconvenience.
It is.
Compared to the way we used to do everything. But think about it, like, the world's changing around us. And we have changed and evolved to adapt to the different things that we do. Ladies and gentlemen, why don't you adapt your measures when it comes to cybersecurity to understand the importance of it? And I think a lot of it has to do with, well, I'm not going to get attacked. And that's a whole other show.
Yep.
Because it is automated now, ladies and gentlemen. The bad actors use bot networks, and the whole thing is automated. So they don't discriminate between Microsoft and John's Bagel Shop. It's just, there is no differentiation with that. If they can get in, they're going to get in. And they're using bot networks to get in and then it notifies them, hey, I got in.
Absolutely. And and it doesn't matter how small or big your business is. I like to tell this story. I had a partner in Nashville who had a customer, 7 users. Okay. They called in and said, hey, we're canceling this email security you have in our account after we paid this last bill. So I look at their account and I noticed that the person who called me was the CEO. She had like 100, I remember to this day the number, 157 phishing attacks on the past 7 days.
Yeah.
So I called the MSP. It wasn't about the money. It was a 7-user account.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I called the MSP. I said, hey, do you know why they're canceling the account? He said, well, they don't want to spend the money. The first time they came to me, they were very worried that somebody was after their formula. And I said, well, have you looked at their dashboard, how much we have stopped in the past 7 days? Well, long story short, the MSP called the CEO, right? It was a 7-user account. It wasn't, again, it wasn't about the money, but the 7-user account business to that person was her life.
Yeah.
Was everything that she created.
Everything.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter how big or small. And people, if you're listening to this and you're a small, medium, or big size business, you need to have an expert like an MSP, like Digital Boardwalk, working with you, because these guys, that's all they do is look at your business. How can we protect you? And then they'll work with us to get the technology to you. But their job is to look at your business. How can we protect you? And that frees your time to do what's your business. If you're a lawyer, if you're a doctor, you can go practice what's your industry. Talk about staying in your lane, right? Don't try to be a cybersecurity expert when you went to school to be a lawyer. You went to be school to be a doctor or a CPA or what real estate, whatever you do. Trust the person who's like, that's what they do. They breathe in and out every day. Cybersecurity. Trust the nerd.
Trust Digital Boardwalk.
Trust Digital Boardwalk.
So yeah, we'll actually send you a link, and you follow that link, and we can actually analyze your complete network and look at your vulnerabilities within your infrastructure to see where the weak points are, and we can fix them for you. It's pretty straightforward. And that's the starting point. And we can evolve from there. And you can ask any business that goes to Digital Boardwalk. You can go on our homepage on our website and look at our NPS scoring, and we have nothing but happy businesses that use us. And it's not just the technology we deploy. I mean, we do that, and a lot of that is so automated that it's hindsight for them.
Yep.
It's the people they engage with too, not just the men, but the women.
Yes.
And that leads us to down that beer, Josie. Oh, she's putting it back. Take the last one. We're going to conclude, and I want to ask you this question as we toast our last beer.
Okay.
I was going to come up with something catchy about what I want from no, it's as we conclude, share some final thoughts on the power of networking and building relationships, because that was a big part of today's show. The power of networking and building relationships, and the power of inclusion and diversity in the tech industry. And then top that off with, what do you think the next 10 years, the next 5 and 10 years of the tech industry look like to the average small to medium sized business? With that, I'm going to let you do the rest of the talking. Ching, ching. Oh, what's the last beer?
It's the Space Dust IPA from the Elysian Brewing Company.
Good one. Where's that from?
Seattle, Washington.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a zinger. So
the power of networking. Wow, we're better together, right?
power in numbers.
Power numbers. Like, you meet people. It's so like, I travel a lot personally. I travel some for work, but when I'm not traveling for work, I just got back. I was in Mexico beginning of January. Then I was just in Utah. I'm going to U.S. Virgin Islands. Then I'm going to go to South Spain. So I'm always traveling. And when I travel,
When you travel, you have a Nerds on Tap sticker on the back of your laptop.
I do have a Nerds on Tap. It's true. That is true. When I travel, like the thing that I like about traveling is the people that I meet. And how different they are than how we are, how they think. And I like to get into conversation. Like, I don't know a stranger. I only know friends that I haven't met yet. Okay.
Right.
So when I meet people, I like to talk to them, ask them questions about their life, what they like, what they do. And you learn so much in this industry too. Even if it isn't like we have different departments in our, like Open Text, we have what, 26,000 employees today?
That's a lot of employees.
It's a lot of people. I'm actually going to our President's Club trip next week to the U.S. Virgin Islands. We're like, I think there's over 100 of us employees all over the world gathering there together. But the thing that I'm excited the most about this trip, you know what it is?
What's that?
To meet the people that I
Yeah.
haven't met yet. Because
Yeah.
I want to know what they do. I want to connect with them, and I want to see what is their everyday. What else can I learn from them? So the networking, when you're networking, it's not just about bringing you business. Putting your name out there. It's about you learning. What you learn has so much more value than what you earn.
Yeah. Say that one more time.
What you learn has so much more value than what you earn.
That is a good way to end this show.
I just came up with that.
No.
I did. It was the beer, the last one.
I was a poet and didn't know it.
There you go.
So the next 5 years,
Oh, it's
all I want to know, we'll keep it short. Look at the camera over here on the left. Suds, make sure you're tuned in to Josie. You talk to the audience. You tell them what the next 5 years might look like and who they can call.
well, the next 5 years can be scary if you don't have the right tools, if you're not working with the right people. Unfortunately, I like to say this, I don't like to scare people. I wanted to educate you. There are threats out there and it's growing. Unfortunately, the bad guys are working faster than we are. We are catching up. We're staying on top of them. But like I mentioned earlier, you should focus on growing your business, focus on what you do the best, and let people like Digital Boardwalk, they're the experts, take care of your needs.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 13 of Nerds on Tap with Josie Keck and Open Text App River Zix platform.
Yay.
Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on to the show, Josie.
This was fun.
And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening in. This has been such a great show. And it was Josie's first podcast ever.
Yes.
So that makes it even more special.
And lucky number 13.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank
Bye-bye.
This was good.
That was good.
Yeah.
Way to go. That was a long one. Cheers, my fellow nerds and beer lovers. Stay tuned for more Nerds on Tap. Oh, and one more thing. Help us spread the nerdy love and the love for great brews by sharing this podcast with your friends, colleagues, and fellow beer enthusiasts. Let's build a community that embraces curiosity, innovation, and the enjoyment of a cold one.